The world is full of influencers. Some set out to become one, while others just changed the world and found the spotlight. This is their story. Welcome to The Accidental Influencer, brought to you by Wild, the world's first social currency payment card, and powered by Wild Rum, a new low-cal, guilt-free alcoholic beverage. My name is Rij Epen, and on this show, we talk to some of the most inspiring people in India who are leaders in their domain, but inadvertently blew up on social media. Our guest today is one of the funniest people in the country. He was rated among the top Indian comedians by CNN-IBN and the only Indian to be invited to perform at the Hong Kong International Comedy Festival. Multifaceted as he is, he's a computer engineer and was the CEO of an IT company and was the winner of CEO's Got Talent. Super thrilled to introduce you to the absolutely hilarious Atul Khatri. Hi Atul, welcome to The Accidental Influencer.
Thank you, Rich. Thank you so much for having me here.
It is such a pleasure to have you here.
Mine too.
So I'm going to dive right in because there's a lot I want to cover. You started out pretty late in the stand-up scene, but you told me a little while ago how you started posting stuff on social media way back when Facebook just started, before you became a comedian. Please tell our listeners that.
So yeah, I think I was one of the early adopters of Facebook. I think 2009, 2010,
Right.
when it had just come out.
Yeah.
And in fact, a friend introduced me to it. And so I started posting, because earlier, because that was the first time there was a platform available where you could express
Your opinions.
your opinion
Views.
and get instant gratification,
Correct.
comments, likes, other opinions of your friends.
course.
And it
Yeah.
was only about friends.
Sure.
I think they added the followers later on. Earlier,
Right,
it was only
correct.
people who you
knew within
who
your
you know
circle.
can be. So it was a nice,
Yeah.
safe space you
Yeah.
could be in.
Yeah.
And right from day one, I was inspired by a lot of. I used to love, satire.
Right.
I used to love comedy. I was a huge fan of comedy.
Yeah.
So I, right from beginning, started putting, very funny posts.
Right.
Things which are happening around about Bollywood, politics,
Right.
cricket. And, India is so amazing. People ask me sometimes, where do you get your content from? I say, open the newspaper, you'll get 5 hours of content every day. So I used to put up my own set of sometimes 3-4 posts.
Right.
And people should really enjoy that.
Right.
And one other thing which happened, a lot of my friends who were abroad
Right.
told me that thanks to your post, we come to know what's happening in India.
In the country.
In the
Right.
country, because you
Right.
put something, you put some satire, we don't understand it, and
Right.
you go and Google it and
Yeah.
say, oh yeah, he's talking about that,
Right.
ha ha ha,
Right.
well done.
Of course.
And so that went on for,
Right.
and sometime that time, now I don't post too much on Facebook, but at that time I used to put like 3-4 posts every day.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and people used to tell other friends, hey, follow him on Facebook.
Right.
He's very, big. I used to get actually, if my friend has sent you a friend request, can you please accept it?
Right.
Even though I don't know. So I used to, that
course.
time, I think the limit was 5,000. I think it's 5,000.
Yeah,
or
it was
10,000.
5,000 at that time,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I used to just add everybody, come join the gang. So there, a lot of people. In fact, I remember those friends who told me, hey, you're very funny, you have a very original opinion.
Right.
Why don't you try your hand in stand-up comedy?
Right.
I started watching comedy shows in
Right.
Mumbai, and I said, hey, let me give it a shot,
right.
and
And this is while you were still working as the CEO of the company
yeah,
that you were working
I think
with.
around 44 that time.
Right.
And so I started doing that and signed up for my first open mic. It was a
Right.
New Year resolution, 1st Jan 2012.
Right.
I said,
Right.
let me, try my hand in comedy, at least give it a try.
Of course.
And so I didn't tell my children about it because they
Oh,
thought dad's
really?
gone mad trying to do comedy. That time my elder daughter was 17, younger was 15. I took my wife along. She also asked me, do you really want me to come? I said, yeah, please come.
They must have thought it was a midlife crisis.
Yeah, exactly, And so I said, no, please come because I bomb, because it was at Worli.
Yeah.
So I said, if I bomb, I don't want to jump off the ceiling if I don't do that. So just come for moral support.
Right.
So she came with me. I remember the night, it was like Tuesday or a Wednesday night,
Right.
30, 40 drunk people. That's how open
Yeah,
mics
of course,
are.
that's how
Some
it was.
8-10 comedians. I met the comedians for the first time.
Right.
And I remember my name was called out on stage by the host. I went up, my throat became dry, my hands were shivering. There was no, floor underneath me.
Right.
But still, I delivered.
Right.
I'd written a set. I'd seen some YouTube videos of Russell Peters. So I know how to, hi, my name is Atul Khatri, go
Right.
into your jokes.
Yeah.
Before leaving, thank you, you've been a great audience.
Right.
2-3 things I learned.
Right.
Wrote something.
Yeah.
and people liked it.
Right.
And I met the other comedians and say, hey, you're very funny, or
Right.
you have very good opinion. Don't leave it. Continue.
Right.
And that's the time I met the other comedians for the first time. They were also, a lot of them were doing open mics or
Right.
doing a first or second gig.
Yeah.
And they said, Twashan, where do comedy open mics happen? So
Yeah.
they told me there's one happening here, one happening there.
Right.
Then there was a comedy store, which was the first
Yeah,
comedy
of
club in
course.
India,
Yeah.
which was in Mumbai, and that was a real great, place for
Right.
comedy.
Right.
Yeah.
It was a great place back then. Yeah.
Back then, a great place. Like, people didn't know what the comedy stood for.
Yeah.
People thought it's a place where they're selling, funny hats and
Yeah,
costumes
yeah,
and
yeah,
things
yeah,
like that.
yeah, of course.
It was a 300-seater auditorium in
Right.
one of the, India's best malls that time, which is
Yeah.
still one of the best
Yeah.
malls. And we went, so I took part in the open mic there
Right.
also. I
Right.
did well there. And then sort of, the kind of,
It kind of just snowballed from there.
my God, because when you get up on stage and make people laugh, the kind of, the positive hormones that just flow in your
Yeah,
system.
yeah, yeah, I
You
can
don't get
imagine.
sleep for the
It's
night.
Exhilaration, right?
My God, it's crazy.
But were you comfortable on stage? Like, did you find yourself like surprisingly, like, perfectly fine on?
No. I was never a stage guy. Like I said, there are a lot of guys who in school, good in elocution, debates,
Theatre and stuff like that.
theatre
Yeah,
and all
yeah,
that.
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but I had
You were not that
tremendous,
guy.
stage fright, and I had to kill a lot. I still have that. I mean, I believe you should have it every night before you go on stage. Don't
Right.
be very
Keeps
cocky.
you- yeah,
yeah,
keeps you
it keeps you
grounded.
humble, keeps you
Yeah,
grounded.
yeah.
Because I've seen the days or nights on. I get cocky.
Yeah.
I say, hey, this is my audience. I'm going to
Yeah.
kill it, and I bloody
That's the big
bomb.
bomb.
So yeah,
Right.
so.
But I can't imagine you've bombed a lot. I mean, your brand of humor is just so funny and relatable. I can't imagine a lot of people will not relate to it.
No, there are nights.
I'm sure.
Everybody
Yeah.
has their bad
Yeah, yeah,
nights.
of
I've had
course.
my share
Yeah.
of those also. Yeah.
I'm sure. But you also did find success pretty quickly, right? I mean, besides the fact that you were ridiculously funny, do you attribute a lot of that success to social media?
Of course. So social media for most comedians today is one of the biggest, I would say, catalyst for
Yeah.
their growth as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Because when you release your reels, you release your videos online, the virality. I
Sure.
know comedians I've seen them struggling at open mics, but that one viral
Yeah.
video of that which went, super viral on social
Right.
media has, just catapulted them into stars
Of course.
overnight.
Of course.
And it's not that they're just because of that one video, but because they have been good.
Yeah.
But that one video which just caught everybody's attention, killed,
right.
and today they are like stars.
Of course.
You know.
But that must have been a learning curve for you as well, right? Because learning social media in that manner, where you're talking about creating content, reaching a wider audience, was that a learning curve? Was that tough?
Of course, because see, I'm right now 55.
Yeah.
And that time also I was not very young.
Sure.
It's a very young people kind of thing.
Sure.
Understanding how to reels, how to edit, how
Of
to
course.
things.
Of course.
So, in fact, I learned my editing during the pandemic, how to edit.
Oh, really?
I
Okay.
didn't know how to edit
Okay.
earlier. Earlier, I
Right.
used to, if I had to
Sure.
edit any video, I used to just hire one of the editors and get them done. But now
Right.
I'll know how to edit my own videos. I know what has to be done.
Right.
I consume a lot of this material.
Right, sure.
Also because I know what are the trends, what are the things happening, what are people
Right.
liking, not liking.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty alert when it comes to social media is concerned.
Right. But did you learn to crack the algorithm? Did you figure where you get
No, the
virality?
algorithm, they keep on changing it.
Yeah,
here.
yeah, exactly. It's a
How can you
pain.
crack it if you don't know what they're going to do?
But did you figure what works best for you and start creating more of that? Do you actively do that?
I think what works very good, you have to be very honest to yourself.
Correct.
That's one thing I learned. Other thing which I learned is every platform has to be tackled differently.
Right.
Like
Correct.
Facebook has to be tackled differently,
And
Instagram
Instagram.
and
And
LinkedIn, Twitter, all four have to be
different.
different.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You can't put up your family picture on Twitter, for example.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
never
yeah,
put up
nobody
family
does.
pics.
Yeah.
Because you'll just get unnecessarily trolled by some
Correct.
random people who you don't know,
Yeah.
and just basically just throwing vile on your content.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that.
absolutely.
It's all toxic,
Absolutely.
so toxic
Yeah.
it is. So LinkedIn has to be very, very, even though LinkedIn today, if you look at LinkedIn also, it's fairly become very, they also want to become like the Facebook.
Correct.
But still, if you put up like a funny post that, hey guys, this is not Facebook, go somewhere else. LinkedIn is only for business. And I say, you guys don't laugh what?
Exactly. You don't laugh in the day. You only laugh at night.
So
Right,
so these are the two learnings which I had.
Right,
And other thing, you have to be true to you have to be very consistent.
Sure. Yeah. That's
You
the
you
biggest thing.
cannot be. So there are people who, if you're a comedian who says, no, I don't like to post my personal life on Instagram.
Right.
And then you will have X number of followers. Then when you
Yeah.
put up your show tickets,
Yeah.
obviously because today that's the only in a way,
Yeah.
the only way you can sell tickets through social media,
Sure.
because the kids who are on their phones the whole day.
Yeah.
They don't watch TV. They don't do newspaper. Earlier, I remember when I was young, the only way to come about a show was to go through Times of India in the entertainment page and see which is the next movie, which is the next show happening in your city. So now everything is on social media.
Yeah, obviously, because every active social media user is on the. I mean, every active consumer out there is on social media.
Yeah. What about social media? Even WhatsApp is a social media in a way.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so it's for you. I think it's one of your biggest mediums to promote yourself and your content and your next shows. So obviously you have to be there. So I guess. But tell me, what was the real life impact of this sudden surge in attention that you got? How was it for you?
No, it's good. I think because I'm older.
Yeah.
I always keep on grounding myself.
Right.
Not to take it, you should not go to your head.
Sure.
Because it can, honestly, this is a line which can just, you can just blow up, and then it can go to your head so quickly. And luckily I live in this area called Juhu, which is sort of the Bollywood capital of India, and I have a lot of friends of Bollywood, personal friends who are directors, actors, and I've seen a lot of them rise and fall and suddenly disappear.
Sure.
So that really scares me.
Right.
So idea is just to do your job. Just keep focused.
Right.
I just saw the Oscar 2 days back, and I think the guy who won the best supporting actor, I forget his name, but he said never stop chasing your dreams.
Right.
He looked at the camera and said, never stop chasing your dream, and that was such an important thing.
Of course.
Just keep on doing your job.
Yeah.
Be very, very, I would say, diligent at it. Be very, very honest to it, and things will fall apart. I mean, they'll fall through. Sorry.
Right. No, I agree. And I guess you're right. I mean, you see so many people attaining massive levels of stardom and then suddenly becoming a different person. And then you suddenly can't relate to that person anymore. I think that's what a lot of people see.
Yeah, one other thing which I just thought about right now is also see that whatever you do should be, you should not be dependent too much on the platform for it.
Right.
For example, few years back, TikTok just one day stopped.
Disappeared.
There were these TikTok stars.
Yeah.
If there had not been an Instagram moved fast and started the reels.
Correct.
If the reels would have not been there, a lot of these guys would have, I remember during that time there are 1 or 2 TikTok stars who even committed suicide.
Yeah.
Because they just couldn't take the,
the pressure. I'm saying that they were suddenly
nothing, zero followers, nothing. What do I do?
Nobody. You start from scratch and no one can do that, right?
Yeah.
You're right. Not being too dependent on one platform is absolutely key, especially when you're in the content business. And if that's your primary source of kind of, it doesn't necessarily have to be just about revenue, but if that's what you're doing every day.
But for a lot of people, for a lot of young influencers out there, it's a lot of the revenue. In fact, the entire revenue comes from social media.
Sure.
But the branded deals they do and things like that. My only thing to that, maybe develop a skill if you're young to see that tomorrow, if none of the platforms exist, still you can still have something else, because you never know tomorrow how things change.
Absolutely.
Tomorrow, Meta will get bought over by somebody else, and tomorrow Elon Musk will say, I want to scrap Instagram altogether. Just imagine there's no Instagram on your phone. What do you do?
What do you do?
Absolutely. So you have to be very thoughtful of that.
Yeah, for sure. You talk about in your material also. You talk about your family a lot, right? And it's really funny because I guess everybody relates to it. You bring your daughters into it, and you tell people about how your daughters kick your ass as well.
Of course.
And how did they take this entire thing?
No, I think they were pretty cool about it.
Yeah.
It's a cool profession, to be honest with you. It's a cool profession, and I think they are very proud of what I did.
I'm sure.
Because I think among all the Instagram influencers, I'm probably the oldest one who's fairly active. I'm 55 right now. So they still laugh at my content. Right. They feel very proud when I'm performing somewhere in the world. Some friend is sitting. They take a picture and they get it,
and they send
it to me. Hey, dads, my friend was there. Wow. They loved your show, and and so I think that. And also, surprisingly, most of my material relates a lot to young people.
Yeah.
Maybe because of my daughters, I know their side. I know the language they speak. So for example, one of my the most viral videos which went was about my Justin Bieber concert I went to. Okay, that's just very viral on YouTube. I think more than 7-8 million likes on that video. The reason I was talking because somebody explained that video. Some expert explained that video. I had never thought about it.
Okay.
He's saying when you did that, you are talking the parents see it from your point of view,
Right.
and
And
even
the
the
kids-
children see it from their. Okay, this is what our
My
parents go through.
think. Right.
Go through.
Right.
You know.
That's a really good point.
So that was very like, it was like you could, it was not only one way, it was two ways you could sort of
Right.
relate to that. That's
Of
why it
course.
became viral, because a lot of, in fact, in my shows, 30-40% of the audience are young kids, you know,
Right.
from 18 to,
Right.
you know, I get a lot of this thing. I wish my dad was as
As
cool,
cool.
as you. So this is a lot
I
I
love
get,
that.
you know. I also tell them, no, your dad is also very cool. You
Yeah.
just don't know about it, you know.
But that's a great testament to the kind of content you put out, right? Because I think if you can relate to, you know, a younger audience being from a different generation, I think that's fantastic. I think it's a, you know, it's a great way for you to say that I influence people positively, right? Because I mean, I don't know if you do this. Do you like actively look at the people that either come for your shows or follow you on social media as someone you influence, or do you just look at them as
I
just-
think to some part of it, this word influencer which has come,
Yeah.
you do influence in the sense.
Correct.
I also look up to some people.
Sure.
So if I have you know, somebody who I look up to,
Yeah.
I see them having coffee at a
Yeah.
particular place.
You get influenced.
I said, hey, I must try this
wanna
coffee.
try.
If
Yeah.
suppose I've not been that place,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
And if it's a genuine thing, if it's a paid partnership, I'll maybe think twice. To be
Sure.
honest with you.
Yeah.
But if it's a genuine thing, somebody's gone to a restaurant,
Yeah.
somebody's enjoyed the food, and I will
Yeah.
definitely, you know. So in a way, you do
Right.
recommend or sort of influence
Yeah.
in a very subtle way. You
Sure,
know? Yeah.
sure. No, but I mean, do you look at them as people that you influence, or do you because like from that perspective, does your material then change based on the fact that you now know that your you know, your audience is young, they're impressionable. So does it change the way you write your material?
In a way, yes. In the sense, not because they're young.
Yeah.
I do want to still, so I don't want to talk too much about marriage and relationships.
Right. Sure.
So I will talk about young stuff, but the underlying thing, it has to be interesting to me also.
you.
I will not write it just for them.
Right.
You know, that's one part of it.
Yeah.
Second part of it is that, like for example, I'll be very honest. I don't know if I can say it on this thing, but I have a very different view to what the current government is doing
Okay.
out there. You
Okay.
know.
Okay.
A lot of comedians out there don't put up stuff
On politics.
on politics at all.
At all. Yeah.
They have great political opinions. When you're
Sure.
sitting in the room, they have like, I said, hey, why don't you, this is a great thing, why don't you just say, I say, are you mad?
Yeah,
I
you
don't
don't wanna get
upset.
into
I
that.
don't upset those guys. I want to have my audience.
Yeah.
So, but I don't believe in that. As a comedian, you have a voice.
Right.
I have an opinion.
Right.
If I don't feel something right about, for example, last 2 days there's this debate going on same-sex marriage.
Yeah.
You know, there's
Yeah,
in fact,
yeah,
right
yeah,
now as
yeah.
we speak, I think today or tomorrow there's a court hearing.
Yeah.
Supreme Court has escalated
Yeah.
the matter. Now I have my views on it.
Sure.
Now if I'm saying no, I'm not going to put my views on it because it will affect that part of my audience.
Right.
To hell with that. Yeah. You know,
don't
I'm
get it.
55. I'm anyway old. I have no filters. I'm going to say my heart out on stage.
Right.
You know, you want to come, you want to come. You don't want to come, you don't come.
Then that's your
But
problem.
honestly, I don't do politics on stage. When
Right.
in my show, I
Right.
don't
Yeah,
do too
no,
much
don't
of
either.
politics because the reasons for that is because I don't. They anyway short-lived.
Right.
So today, if you're a politician, I talk about you. Tomorrow,
Yeah.
you'll leave your party and join the
Yeah,
opposition.
join
I
the-
say my
yeah,
entire
yeah.
set collapses
Correct,
because you change
correct.
your
Absolutely.
ideology over some few crores of rupees.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
why the hell should I invest in you when you yourself don't have an ideology? You know, so I just keep politics for Twitter.
Right.
That's best for that.
Right. Yeah, yeah. It's a great place
It's
to-
the flavor of the day. Put
Yeah,
something,
yeah,
just move
it's
on. The
gone,
next day,
and it's
people have
forgotten
forgotten
also.
everything.
People
Go
have
ahead.
forgotten, yeah.
Yeah, but because when you write on stage, it has to be long-lived.
Sure.
You know,
yeah.
it has
Because
to.
people will come back, revisit it, see it maybe years
It should
later.
not
and
be that after
relevant.
2 months. It should not have a shelf life. Then 2 months your set is
Sure.
gone because that people
Yeah,
have forgotten
because-
the topic.
Sure, sure. But do you feel that there's a burden of responsibility on you to be careful about how you speak? I mean, you know, politics aside, everything else.
There is a responsibility comedians have to carry. For example, if I go to a corporate show, most corporate shows have a thing, don't talk about sex, religion, politics, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah,
blah.
the brief.
And they're paying you for it.
Sure,
They're paying you good
sure.
money for it.
That's fair
No, you
enough.
can't be able to say, okay, no, I will go and say my mind.
Yeah.
You know, then
Not
it's-
there. That's not
it's
there necessarily the
you know.
forum, yeah.
Many times I go to a corporate show and they say, hey, so talk about anything you want, give bad words, we are very, very liberal.
Right.
When I go there, I see in the audience, most corporates are
Right.
100 guys and there'll be 2 women
Yeah.
there only, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't do anything because
Right.
you know every time I make a joke on sex, for example, I know those 100 guys are going to watch those two women
women.
and make them feel so uncomfortable.
Right.
And I don't want
And
to be
that's not
uncomfortable.
the
I
case.
always think if my daughter or wife would be in the order, how would she feel about it?
Sure.
You know.
And you would never say anything inappropriate at that time.
Yeah, so I will not do that. And I've come back and say, so Vito, you didn't give one bad word also. You don't talk about. I said because first of all, you know,
Get your ratio right.
Yeah, get your ratio right, and then you know let them also like I don't want them to feel awkward.
Absolutely.
So there is a responsibility towards comedian. One more responsibility. What happens is many times we are not now, but I've been doing comedy for like 11 years now.
Yeah.
I remember probably 5-6 years back. I was the first comedian to ever perform, I think, in Udaipur. In Udaipur, first time comedy show.
Oh, really?
History, like I made history the first time
wow.
they were having a stand-up comedy show of our genre.
Yeah.
And you know, so what happens is over there, even I have a responsibility, seeing that the audience is watching this comedy for the first time.
Right.
So I have a lot of dark jokes also.
Sure.
But I will go very easy,
Right.
you know, easy jokes,
Right.
Sindhi jokes, Gujarati joke,
Yeah,
Punjabi joke, blah, blah, blah. Just take it, take them, handhold them.
Right.
Get them ready for
Right.
comedy, you know, because
Right.
I go bang, 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 and I say, hey, this is comedy.
Yeah.
Let's go home and watch, you know, some TV show.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So
because they might not get it.
They
right
will
off
not
the
get
bat,
it.
right?
Oh, a guy can go and talk. Sometimes in this city, they didn't even know how to respond.
Right.
So you have to tell them you can clap,
clap,
you
oh,
can
right.
hoot, you can
laugh loud,
yeah,
do
you
all
can
of
laugh
that.
loud. You know, because they this like clap. I remember first time we used to perform at NCPA,
Yeah.
which is this great, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
performing
of
arts theatre, maybe 10 years back.
Yeah.
We used to get like claps and then standing ovation,
Yeah.
which is usually because those guys watch plays.
plays, yeah, they're used to that.
I said, why did I didn't deserve a standing ovation first time, wow, but damn good, please go ahead. You know, so.
That's hilarious. But yeah, that's true. Especially when you're performing to a new audience, I never actually thought of that. When you're performing to a new audience, especially in new cities, because now, you know, stand-up comedy is so ubiquitous. I mean, you think that everybody's seeing something or someone. But
No,
you're
but
right. there
yeah,
might be
but
places-
also I went last week. It was a show I think in Bangalore or
Yeah.
some Bangalore I think, and I said, how many of you are watching live stand-up comedy for the first time? It was a very nice room, 200-300 people, 50% of the hands.
Really?
Yeah, so they've been watching it on YouTube
Sure.
or WhatsApp, but the
They're
live
actually
show,
live.
India, you do a huge population.
Of course, yeah. And cities where it's not so like rampant to have comedians come in and do live performances.
Yeah.
I guess so. Yeah. But moving to the other side of influencing, you now endorse brands.
Of
You've been
course,
endorsing
yeah.
brands. I think it's not just now. It's been over the last few years, actually, right?
Yeah.
Do you create content from from the brief that you get, and is it tough for you? Is it easy for you now? How does it flow for you now? Endorsing.
No, I've understood the thing. So I write for brands.
Right.
So I know how to write, what you can say, what you
Okay.
cannot say. So that I would say, what's it called? That self-censorship is already
Sure.
because finally the brief will go to some legal team.
Yeah.
And they'll
And they'll
strike
say,
it
"This is
down.
not
How can you say this word? You can't use any other brand's name.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes we forget.
Yeah,
you know.
of course.
So like for example, you can't say Tinder in any other bag. Tinder is a brand itself.
Yeah,
They say you say so you have to call it dating app.
Yeah.
You know, so things like that.
of
So
course.
I've that sanitization, that self-censorship
Right.
already come out. So I write for brands, but I like brand works. But sometimes the problem would have when every brand comes to you is the cliche thing. They'll come to you. We have come to you for your voice.
Right.
Say what you want.
Right.
I said, do I have to mention the brand's name? No. You just say
Oh, really?
it. Like be subtle about it and this and that. The third brief will please say the brand name 4 times. Show the soap like this.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, of
it has to be
course.
proper color. You have to wear the brand color. Like I've done brand shows that say, sir, you are wearing a red T-shirt. I said, yeah, but you told me I could wear anything. But sir, red is the color of a competitor. I said, I didn't even know that. Can you reshoot it with a green? Do you have a light green, yellow T-shirt, which is our brand color? I said, no, give it to me. I'll wear it.
Exactly.
And pay me for the reshoot.
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
So I've had my share of that.
Right.
And now I'm also, for example, whenever you're even shooting a small reel,
Yeah.
I say, please
Give me the brief.
give the brief.
Yeah.
And wherever we are shooting it,
Yeah.
I need the brand team guy also to be at the shoot.
Present, yeah.
Because what happens is after you shot the reel, you
Yeah.
put it up
Yeah.
or you send it to the brand
For approval.
for approval after you shot and
Yeah.
not even change one word of the script.
Yeah.
Then what happens? Everybody in the office suddenly there's Steven Spielberg
Yeah.
and Christopher Nolan, rises from their soul. No. This angle was not good. The light behind is not good.
Right.
Emotions are not good. In the pandemic, I did a brand deal for some stupid amount, and I'm not joking. It was they said you and your wife, you want
Right.
something, you know.
Right.
And they said, no, the emotions are not. I said, what emotions are you looking at? I swear on you, they sent me a clip of Shah Rukh Khan and Kajol from Dilwale Dulhania,
Are
that
you
scene.
serious?
This is the emotion we need. I said, then these are the people you should hire.
Exactly.
Freaking 4 crores for
Hardcore.
that. Study 50,000 rupees you want,
On a
paying
Zoom
me
call.
on a Zoom call, home shot,
home
cell
shot,
phone,
yeah.
front camera, and you want this kind of look, this kind of production.
And
It's
romance.
crazy, it's crazy. Yeah, I'm telling you, you'll have a laugh. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm sure you've done a bunch of. I mean, you must get crazy, bizarre requests for endorsements, right? What is the most like weirdest thing you've been asked to do?
I got a lot of these nowadays as I'm getting older. A lot of those, those vitality tablets.
Yeah.
And things like that. And I said, no, hold on, I don't mind doing it
Yeah.
as long as they are serious. I mean,
Yeah.
if it's
They're a real product,
FDA
yeah, a serious
approved,
product.
by
Sure.
some good brand,
Yeah.
but a random brand, whether it'll actually cure his erectile dysfunction, I don't know. I don't want guys blaming me. The product is not working, sir.
That's hilarious. Imagine a Viagra from
Yeah,
from the East.
Yeah.
But what is the real reason behind 1x2?
So this
name?
1x2
Yeah.
is my first ever set which I did in my open mic, which I just
Oh, right,
mentioned.
okay.
I talked about this 1x2 soup,
Okay.
which is so common in India.
yeah.
We can go unflinched to any restaurant and say, make this soup 1x2,
Yeah.
2x5,
Yeah.
all these crazy equations.
Yeah.
So I have this entire set on that.
Yeah.
And that's my oldest set, but I've never released it on YouTube because I just love it.
Okay,
It's just for
okay,
me.
right,
And
okay.
so I just thought this 1x2 was so unique to
Right,
India,
right, yeah.
Like I know I've been to a restaurant in New Jersey,
Yeah.
and they said, sir, then this place you can do 1x2. Because owned by an Indian. Because if you go to an American place, say 1x2,
1x2,
they
what is
they
that?
don't do. They'll give you one bowl and give you an extra bowl. You do your
Yeah,
1x2.
you do, exactly.
But what happens when you do 1x2? You actually pay for one.
Yeah.
But you get around 1.2,
Yeah,
1.15.
exactly. That's why you do it.
That's why you do it. Like I remember as kids we used to go. We could, like me and my sister, we could have ordered like one soup and shared.
Yeah.
But no, do
1x2
1x2 because you'll
You
get
get a little
slightly more,
extra. But was that what the set was about?
It's something about that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I would love to hear a part of this set. I would love to hear some part of this set at some point. It sounds hilarious. But who has been your influence? Who has influenced you the most?
So I like people who I really look up to.
Yeah.
Like you want names? Yeah. So
Yes, please. I would love
so
that.
one person definitely who really I look up to is Mr. Azim Premji.
Yeah, okay,
Who was because in my IT field we used to work a lot with
Sure.
Wipro, and I saw him up close. I
Right.
saw them working up close. I'm a huge fan of Mr.
Right.
Azim Premji. I'm a huge fan of Javed Akhtar.
Okay. Okay.
Because of his, very staunch and very, his radical thinking, his logic, you hear some of his interviews, he explains things so clearly,
Yeah.
especially about religion, about whatever, about
Correct.
politics,
Yeah,
about
yeah.
anything which is happening. And I just find, I like people with whose thoughts and things are very clear.
Clear.
When they speak also, you should be able to understand them. I don't like people who talk big,
Right.
and finally make
So
it
you-
very
yeah,
simple.
sure, sure.
So Javed Akhtar, Azim Premji, among the comedians, I like Russell Peter a lot because Russell
yeah.
Peter has been doing comedy now, I think 30 years, 35
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
Whatever said and done, a lot of people have said, no, he was very funny earlier, not any longer.
Right.
I think he's damn funny now also.
Right.
He sells out, not ordinary now, stadiums he sells
Yeah,
out. I
absolutely.
just saw his post yesterday or two days back. There was this stadium in Australia, I think 30,000 people or
Wow.
something, selling out.
Right.
And
Yeah.
people still, what has happened is now in comedy, people have started overthinking comedy,
Okay. Yeah. At least the viewers have.
Yeah, so the
everyone wants
the
to
comedy
break it
fans
down.
are saying that, no, where are the layers? What are you talking? Why are you
Right.
talking simple stuff? You're talking simple stuff. You hear some of these critics who write and I said, bloody, have you ever done? But you have to understand the audience.
Correct.
That is you. Suppose
Yeah.
you're an audience, you're
Yeah.
not a comedian,
Yeah. Yeah.
You are doing your daily job.
Correct.
You come to a comedy store to
Yeah.
just laugh,
Right.
So it should be nice, simple, it should relate
Easy,
to you,
yeah.
Don't try to make it
Layered and overthinking
so
too
much like that people are trying to figure out
Right,
it was
meaning
don't make it crazy intelligent, make it intelligent if
Right.
but that depends from everybody's writing style.
Sure.
Because I've seen, as I said just now, that go to even in Bombay today, 30% 40% comedy are watching comedy for the first
Yeah.
time. They are
Yeah, you have to
make it
appeal to them as
nice,
well.
simple, take them along with you.
But it's not always easy to appeal to everybody, right? I mean,
That's
it's-
always there. That's always
Yeah,
there.
I guess-
And nowadays, that's how it's happened in the last few years. The comedy scene in India has exploded so much
Yeah.
that now everybody has their niche.
Sure, correct.
Forget earlier comedy. When I talked about 10 years back at the comedy store,
Yeah.
you could only do comedy. You can get on stage if you do it in English. So they were
Right.
my friends like Vipul Goyal,
Yeah.
Amit Tandon,
Yeah.
you know, the earlier batch.
Yeah.
They used to rewrite their jokes from Hindi to English so that they could perform in the comedy store, which
Right.
was considered the mecca of comedy,
Correct.
the only stage for comedy,
In-
you know,
in India, yeah.
in India. But that went away, you know,
Sure.
thanks to Geo. Actually,
Sure.
thanks to Geo, you know, the way the content is being spread all across India. Now you see there are comedians in Hindi, Marathi,
Correct.
Punjabi, Telugu, Sindhi,
Right.
you know, we name the language.
Yeah.
And some of the words in these languages are so strong,
Right.
so powerful. You
Yeah.
know, in
Yeah, which you
English doesn't
cannot-
have a replacement for
There's
it.
no way to translate
Like
that
even
and
I,
not lose
I
the-
just laugh because what a beautiful word. You know,
Right.
the joke is amazing, but
Right.
just the word just
Made it
enhanced
happen.
the joke so much. You
Right.
know.
Right.
So I think that is great, you know,
Right.
and that's just expanded the market.
Right.
There are comedians like, you know, guys like Zakir Khan and all have done
Yeah.
comedies in like Bhopal, Patna. They were not a
Yeah.
comedy, stand-up
Yeah,
comedy,
yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
actually expanding the market.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely. It's opening up the.
it's opening up the markets, you know, and these guys have
Yeah.
done such a great job. So I think overall,
It's,
you know, it's
the
exploding.
ecosystem is at least
Yeah, yeah. And
building
India is
beautifully.
such a beautiful country to perform in. There's so many things happen. You
Right.
know, I mean,
Right.
it's go to a country like Singapore.
Yeah.
They're so flat, you know.
Right.
If there's an
Right.
accident on their coast road or something, that really comes at the front page of
Yeah.
the Straits
There's
Times. You know,
nothing else
this.
to talk about. But who do you think is doing like the best kind of work that you relate most to in the comedy scene?
So in the Indian comedy scene, I like Veer Das's work a lot.
Okay.
He's, I think, one of the most hard-working comedians
Right.
in the country. And he's so busy. He's every second day he's doing a world tour.
Right.
He's coming out with a movie. He has a rock band.
Right.
He puts
Yeah,
in
that's true.
like I know Veer. He said it in the interviews. He writes every day for 2-3 hours every day.
Wow.
Shuts off his phone. He has some new thing which is some device he told me about, which is not connected to the internet. So
Okay.
when you open your laptop, then you get diverted.
Right.
You get into the rabbit hole. You know.
Sure.
So he's got a machine which just for writing.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
And so he just writes 3 hours. You know, Saurabh Pant, another comedian,
Yeah,
they really write a
course.
lot.
Yeah.
You know, and then they go on every day when you write so much, then you go and perform.
Of course.
You write 5 pages, you might get a good 1 page out of
Yeah,
it, whatever.
sure.
I'm not so disciplined now, so I really look up because they're really very hard working. So
Right.
Veer is this in the comedians abroad. I like Ricky Gervais. I
Okay.
like Bill Burr.
Yeah.
I like a lot of the other comedians who are
Right.
there.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Nice.
a lot of these
Nice.
guys inspire you. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, what is your process like? How do you sit down and write, or how do you come up with stuff?
Actually, I don't sit down and write. I walk and
Oh,
write. So
okay.
what I do is I live in Juhu and I live close to the beach.
Yep.
And as an old uncle, one of my good hobbies is to walk. So I love to walk. So I try to do at least 10 to 12,000 steps every day.
Oh, wow.
So sometimes you'll find me walking on Juhu Beach, you know, just gesticulating to myself
Yeah.
and thing. So that's the time I sort of
Right.
process my things.
Right, okay.
I expand my jokes there. So
Okay.
my process is very different. I am lazy. I said, you know, how Saurabh and all Veer are so
Yeah.
meticulous with the writing.
Yeah.
I don't put writing the first thing.
Okay.
I have a thought which I process in my head.
And then it develops
I
in
expand it. I do it. Then I go on stage, and while on stage, I might put in some more tags
Okay.
or things like
Okay.
that. So once I have a good set.
Yeah.
And then at one time I will put it on a laptop.
Right.
Because when you once put it on a laptop, then you get further more ideas.
Sure.
You'll get some word play.
Yeah.
When you're thinking in front
Yeah,
of you,
yeah.
the set is in front of you, you can get more
Sure.
angles,
Sure.
tags. So then it sort of expands.
Okay.
And finally, at the end of it, any comedian, whatever you write, whatever you think, it has to be funny on stage.
Right.
A simple thing.
Absolutely.
So there are many times it has happened that I found it so funny in my head.
Yeah.
I've written it down and I've gone on stage and it has just bombed.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And later on you realize as you grow as a writer also why it bombed.
Right.
You know, maybe the joke I didn't think of it but sounded too misogynistic. You know,
Right.
I wrote it for I remember one set I'd done with my wife and me, but just sounded very harsh on my wife. But I didn't
Right.
find it this. But when I revisited that set,
Yeah.
maybe after a year or two, I said,
Yeah.
what the hell was I doing?
Yeah.
And it also happens, like today, any actor also, they'll see one of their work which they did 10
Say,
years
what
back,
was
oh,
I
maybe,
thinking?
what the hell, what was I wearing? How am I, like, you
Yeah.
know, how my hair like that?
Yeah.
But same thing with comedian also.
Sure.
You evolve as a writer.
Right.
And so, you know, sometimes some of the old tweets I've seen, which I tweeted in 2009, 2008, which I was not even a
What
comedian.
was I
So
thinking?
what the hell? How did I think? And those are very different times.
Of course.
There are
Yeah,
different
yeah.
times you could
Yeah,
say
yeah.
whatever you want.
Exactly.
And you
no
know,
one would
this
be so aghast at the
and
idea.
we were also sort of, we had to learn a lot of things,
Sure.
you know. back in
Also unlearn a lot of things.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Back in school, sorry to say, but you know, school, your fat friend, you call him Motu. You know, a guy with specs, you called him, you know, double battery or something, or you know, Kalia and you know, white powder. And you know, if the guy was too white, you know, it was fair. Nowadays, you can't say that. You know, you'll be called out and thrown on this on Western Express Highway. You know, so you have to be very careful of all these things. So yeah, but I think that was right because that time we didn't feel it. You know,
Of course.
it could have hurt that person who you know was called Motu by the rest of the class. You know, he would have maybe now become so thin, and I have become Motu. You know, so yeah, but so as a writer, you sort of sometimes you don't the jokes also bomb. You put it in a cold storage. You revisit them later on, and maybe a set will develop out of it. You know, so it's a nice slow process. And for every comedian, the the biggest joy is when you've written something, you go on stage and you get a laugh on that. You know,
that's your biggest high.
Yeah. Luckily, I have this audience at home. My two daughters and my wife. I make them sometimes sit whenever I catch hold. I make them sit and make my jokes. And my daughters, I get a good reaction. But the wife is always that when she says the joke is amazing, it just bombs on stage. Or when she says it's a beautiful joke, it was horribly on stage. So that way I know. Yeah.
No, but with your friends, do they like think that you should always be funny? Is that what they
within my
expect you
close
to do?
friends, obviously, I was the funny guy.
Right.
Because, later on I came to know, I read a book on comedy, that how do you discover a comedian?
Yeah.
So they said that guys who are usually funny, like even you must be having an uncle or a friend, or maybe you're the funny guy in your group, maybe you just come up and light up. So I was that funny guy in my group or in my family thing. But when it comes to outside, we are usually, comedians are very introverted people. We're very different on stage, off stage. Like my wife gets this a lot that, oh, you have a comedian at home, you're having a lot of fun. She said, no, he's an ass at home, just like any other husband. So that's the thing so most comedians are very, very introverted, very, very to themselves when it comes off stage.
Yeah. I guess they need that little that off-center part of it
maybe
to write content, right? No, because I get this a lot as well. You would not believe this, but and this is something that my friends and the people that I work with have fun doing, is trying to get people to guess my age.
Your age, okay.
And nobody gets it right.
Okay.
Because you want to guess it?
32, 33?
No. You're far from it.
62?
I don't know. I'm 47.
Okay, 47. Shit, fuck, you're doing damn man.
But that's why we're closer in age than most people.
Yeah.
And
you have children? Are you married? Children?
I was married. I have a daughter. I have a 13-year-old daughter.
Oh, sorry.
And and so most people say, "And that you're an influencer." Like, why? Age is not a cutoff. There's no one out there saying that.
The biggest influence is Mr. Amitabh Bachchan.
Yeah, exactly.
He's what, 80?
Yeah.
70, 80? Yeah. My God.
It's crazy.
The amount of brand deals he does.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
And so they ask, are you just like always influencing? I was like, influencing is not like that kind of a thing, right? You're not always influencing. So comedians are not always necessarily have to be walking around funny, right?
Yeah.
Because, especially, we were telling you about what Wild is. So, at Wild, we truly believe that everybody in the world is an influencer. On some level, every single. What
Exactly.
do you think about that?
I think it's right because suppose you have like 500 followers.
Yeah.
Maybe those 500 followers, even though they are 500, they are in a way, they could be your friends.
Yeah.
They need not be like looking up to you.
Correct.
But they are your peers.
Absolutely.
But suppose tomorrow you go and have a great lunch somewhere and you post about it.
Yeah.
And they'll say, okay, it's nothing but, I would say, the influence is a recommendation in a way.
Sure.
Today, earlier, what you say, you go to try a new restaurant, you call up, hey, did you try this new restaurant?
It's
Is it good?
right?
But today, when you see like 10 guys going on Instagram and really liking the food, and if you don't see that paid partnership thing, you say, okay, it's genuine.
It's
genuine.
real.
It's real. Maybe we should try the place.
Yeah, absolutely. No, in fact, my friend Malini Agarwal says this all the time, Miss Malini.
Yeah.
She says, we've kind of lost the idea of how influencing is, right? Because now, if you look at 500 people, like you were saying, you put 500 people in a room, that's a lot of people. But suddenly 500 people on Instagram is nothing.
Yeah.
Why? Those 500 people matter.
Of course they matter.
And so,
of course they matter. Each and every follower matters to you.
Exactly. Yeah. No, absolutely. But having seen both sides of this life, like you came into it late, you saw the sudden, the digital explosion for you and your life before. What would you change? Would you change anything in your life?
No, I wouldn't change. I get this question a lot. Would it be better if you had started comedy young?
Yeah.
I said, no, maybe at 55, I have a longer timeline. I can talk about a lot of more things.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I can talk about marriage, I can talk about my school life, I can talk about my college life, my dating life. Even I had a dating life, whatever, way back in the, I don't know, before Christ or something. but yeah, so we had a life, like,
Right.
you know,
Right.
we have seen life without a
course.
mobile phone, and
Yeah.
yet we had a great time.
Rotary phones.
Yeah, we used to go to the discotheque that time.
Yeah.
I used the word discotheque, and my daughter said, "Dad, that's such an old name. It's called a nightclub, not a discotheque." I said, "It was a discotheque. It's just a discotheque."
That's what it was called,
So
yeah.
anyway, so we've done all that.
Yeah.
So I don't honestly.
You wouldn't change anything.
No, I wouldn't change anything. It's come at the right time. Right time. Maybe 10 years back when I started comedy. 10 years back, comedy. I think the comedy scene in India is just 11, 12 years old. I got into it 11 years back.
Right.
I think I got it at the right time.
Right.
And you know, we were the first. You know, at one time, just to let you know, the entire comedy community in India used to fit on a WhatsApp group. At that time, WhatsApp group had a limit of 50 people only.
Right.
So all the comedians of India, I think there were just 35, 36, all on one WhatsApp group, you know. And now it's just how it's exploded. You know? But it's great. It's
beautiful.
Great. It's done great for the scene.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, now that you're a legit influencer, why don't we do what influencers do?
What's that?
Let's create
Charge
a
money
reel.
from you? No.
That's hilarious. Let's create a reel.
Okay, let's do
But
that.
let's create something interesting.
Okay.
All right. Now we're getting to a segment called the Wild Drum Reel of the Day.
Okay.
Let's do a laugh off.
So you will tell me jokes.
And
I have to laugh?
You have not to laugh.
I have not to laugh. Oh, I have not to laugh.
Not to laugh.
But if I if the joke is so good.
If the joke is so good and so
Laugh.
the idea is,
Okay, got it.
Yeah, and let's do it with each other and let's
Sure.
see what happens.
Okay, great.
Yeah? All right. We're doing the no laugh challenge with Atul Khatri. I go first. Why isn't there a pregnant Barbie doll? Because Ken came in another box. Nothing? Nothing?
Nothing.
Shit.
I'll go for it.
Okay.
There are two types of holes on Indian roads: potholes and assholes.
All right. You get 1 point. All right, okay. A woman walks into a bus holding a baby. The bus driver says, "That is such an ugly baby." She's fuming. She goes to a co-passenger and says, "That driver just abused me." And the co-passenger says, "What? You should go tell him off. Here, let me hold your monkey."
That's a good.
Good. I got one laugh. All right.
Yeah. Now my chance.
Yeah.
Finale.
Yeah, final.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Fuck.
Fuck who?
Fuck you for getting me a free brand deal into brand work.
That's hilarious. All right, you win. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, Atul Khatri wins the No Laugh Challenge. That was so cool. Atul, thank you so much.
Thank
That
you,
was
Rich. Thank
so
you.
much fun.
So much fun for me as well.
I'm glad. It was such a pleasure having you.
Thank
It
you.
was such a good conversation. And, you know, as a token of our appreciation from
Yay, wow, I
us-
love gifts. Yeah.
and this is a gift box from our sponsor, Wild Drum.
Okay.
Some hard seltzers for you to enjoy with your kids. Yeah. So, again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been
Thank you
such
for
a
this
pleasure.
as well.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
The Accidental Influencer is presented by Wild, a Visa-powered payment card that allows anyone with as little as 1,000 followers to encash their influence with every purchase. It's as simple as buy, post, and earn. This show is powered by Wild Drum, India's first hard seltzer brand, a low-cal, vegan, and gluten-free alcoholic beverage. We're shooting at the gorgeous Koi Bar at the Penthouse at the St. Regis, Mumbai, our venue partner for The Accidental Influencer. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to share and like it, and subscribe to our channel for more on our Accidental Influencer show. And follow at getwild.in on Instagram. Know more about Wild. I will see you in the next episode. The world is full of influencers. Some set out to become one, while others just change the world and found the spotlight. This is their story.